That we are doomed and unlucky is a fact. We already spoke about it in yesterday's videos, but ragazzi, calma, because we go from overconfidence, over-enthusiasm to over-dramatic. And again, from that over-dramatic way of feeling of us Juventini, we go back to over-enthusiasm, overconfidence. We never stop there in the middle. A middle point which is extremely important if we want to step back a bit and analyzing things at 360 degrees. Because that overconfidence on Pedro Felipe, he's the natural sub of Bremer. He needs to play now. He needs to start, nearly giving him the armband of captain or vice captain, what is the role of the number 3 of Brazil. And no, ragazzi, but I told you already yesterday in the video in the morning. And then we go to that over dramatic. It's over. It's finished. I will not compete for the Scudetto. I will not win the Champions League. Let's already think about season 26-27. Calma. We are paying a coach to find solutions also to the most dramatic ways of living La Continassa. It is a problem? Yes. Tudor needs to solve it? Absolutely yes. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe. Welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well, ragazzi. I told you yesterday, calma with Pedro Felipe. I told you that I wanted to protect him in a way on two aspects. The first one, that you cannot start immediately with Pedro Felipe in the Bernabeu as the center back because he has 0 international minutes, because he has 0 minutes with senior football. Calma. First of all, with Pedro Felipe, he would not be the natural sub and being a starter for Gleison Bremer. On the second point, I also told you, anticipated you yesterday before having the news of what happened, that Pedro Felipe also come from an ACL, the same injury as Gleison Bremer. Gleison, the 3rd of October, Pedro Felipe in the beginning of November last year. We're speaking about last year, so also him needed to be managed. Couldn't play game in, game out, game in, game out. He's playing now with the next gen, where he did quite well. You see that step by step he is coming back. But what do we read this morning? By Gianluca Di Marzio, by calciomercato.it, by Juventus themselves, we see that the player is out. For the most optimistic ones, 7-10 days before coming back to train. For other experts, a few weeks out. Why? Because he has that muscle strain. So it's not a huge, big injury. It's part of the post-ACL. So Pedro Felipe will not be able to count on him. And that's why I told you that overconfidence in a player that a lot of you never saw a player, didn't see that he needed to still grow, to still gain experience, and believing that also physically he was ready. Probably we were too much overconfident. And that's why sometimes it would be beautiful to go with TikTok videos, play Pedro Felipe. You know how many million views we would have with GJustjuve? No, calma, we need to analyze. On the other side, also calma with that over-dramatic way. Is it dramatic that Bremer is there? Yes. But is it a new ACL? No. Will he miss the entire season? No. How long will he miss? Well, according to the first reports, because now we also know that the surgery was perfectly executed, we know that he will be out about 2 months, according to the first reports. By the way, to enter a bit more in detail, that surgery, the problem, that injury of Gleison Bremer tomorrow, I hope that I can promise it, but I should have a doctor that is following GJustjuve that will explain us a bit more about the details, about what Gleison Bremer has, how long he will need to recoup and to play. 2 months, what does that mean? 14 games missed. If we start at Como, Juve, Real Madrid, Juve, and all the games all the way down, also missing Napoli, Juve, etc., to Bologna, Juve, and there we are speaking about the 14th of December. Hopefully to have him again there, because then we continue without stop. You know, we don't stop during Christmas. We have Juve Roma, we have Pisa, Juve Lecce, Sassuolo, Juve, etc. So 2 months. Malediction Bremer? Absolutely, it's a malediction. For people that are saying Beppe should have been managed much better, he should have given more time to come back. I really want to push on one thing. Gleison could have technically, in theory, already play at the World Cup for a club this summer. But Juventus decided to take him with the team, but do not play him. Also this summer in the pre-retiro, Gleison Bremer didn't play a lot of games, and when he played also 5 minutes here, 5 minutes, 45 minutes there. So if you are looking and listening already to the expert doctors, like for example Tencone, ex-doctor of Juve that spoke on Tuttosport, he's saying, guys, this is not a problem of managing Gleison Bremer. It's bad luck. It's bad luck for Gleison Bremer. I repeat that. Then could Juve have done something better, something more? I'm not the doctor again, but maybe yes, because the first signs that gave us, all of us, a bit of fear was the post-Verona. He doesn't play against Verona after the game. He trains, because a lot of players that are not playing games after the games, and if you already went to a stadium and watched the game, you know that is normal. Well, when he trained there, well, he felt on the ground. The reports, the journalists were telling us fatigue. Well, when you have 4 doctors around you, it's a bit more than fatigue. So should he have been stopped immediately there? Could be. Again, I am not a doctor, but it's true that the first signs of Gleison Bremer not being in optimal form were already clear there. He didn't play against Verona, didn't play against Milan in the last game. We could have anticipated his surgery 1 week, 2 weeks before. Again, it's quite difficult to really give an honest opinion on that, and that's why I'm really curious to hear the doctor tomorrow. What are the solutions? Because that's what we are asking to Tudor now. Well, Gazzetta is giving us 2 solutions that are not really 100% convincing me. The first one is Gatti in the middle with Kalulu on the right side, Kelly on the left. And then you have a second solution that sees Rugani in the middle with Gatti on the right and Kelly on the left. Both of the solutions are not convincing me. In that first one, because Gatti as a center back is not it's something that is not convincing me. Absolutely not. I prefer much more there Daniele Rugani. Daniele Rugani is one that can play in the 3 roles regardless, and even better as a center back, as a last man, because that's his natural role. But Federico Gatti much better on the right side, not as a center back. He doesn't have the characteristic, according to me, to really play there really well. On the other side, I don't like that second option of Gazzetta with Rugani in the middle, Kelly and Gatti. For what reason? Because they are also playing with a Kalulu there as a right wing back. If we have at the moment 3+1 defenders to play in a 3-man defense, you cannot play all of them simultaneously on the starting 11 because you have 0 subs. You have 0 subs at disposal. Going towards a 4-man defense with Kostic or Cambiaso on the left, with Kalulu on the right, Gatti, Rugani, or Kelly there could potentially be a solution for us that are thinking about a lineup, the one that could perform the best. But on the other side, looks like, if you are reading the papers, that Tudor has absolutely no intention to go towards that solution. So he wants to continue with 3 men. So with a 3 men, one needs to stay out. So to me, the best 3-man defense, if you can play them, is Kalulu right center back, is Rugani center back, is Kelly left center back, with Gatti the first sub to Kalulu, and Kalulu being there can play on the left, on the right, depending. Let's see what we can do there, but these are to me the 3 starting 11 with Gatti the first sub. That being said, ragazzi, I see already some names of free transfers to actually being linked to Juve to solve immediately the problem. We're speaking about Tomiyasu. Guys, go on transfer market, go to stats, go to injury list, look at the records of the player. This is absolutely not a player that we could count on. He didn't play since I don't know when. Well, before having him, it's too late. So Tomiyasu is to me absolutely not a solution. Like Skriniar is not a solution. Skriniar is again in the fashion, again in the list of Juve according to Gazzetta dello Sport. We know that the Gazzetta has spoken a lot through the last, let's say, year about Skriniar being an objective of Giuntoli, Tudor, Giuntoli, Thiago Motta and Juve. To me, no. To me, it's absolutely impossible. Go on Capology, you look for the name Milan, Skriniar, you look at how much he's earning at today. He's earning 9 million euro net. A player that, yes, it's true, he went to Fenerbahce, convinced by Mourinho, and then he leaves Mourinho. It's not the first time that this happened. How many players went for Mourinho somewhere where Mourinho said after 2 weeks, oh, ragazzi, ciao, I leave. Or being sacked or he leaves by himself, I don't know. But anyway, these players are staying there in their club without having Mourinho. Now he would love to leave Fenerbahce to go to, I don't know what club, maybe Juve, I don't know. Ragazzi, go look at the salary, forget about it immediately. Another name could potentially be Kim Min-jae, but also there a problem is extracomunitario. We have one slot and Gazzetta is insisting on Molina from Atletico Madrid. There could be an opening also because they are extremely interested in signing permanently Nico Gonzalez, so let's see. Really curious, what about the national teams? Well, today Italy is playing and Tuttosport is asking to close it here. What, not the first spot, but at least securing the second spot, beating Israel this evening at 20:45, so 8:45 p.m. Italian time. Why am I speaking about the national team? Because today Locatelli should be again starting on the bench. Last time he played 0 minutes with Cambiaso, could potentially be a starter for the game of today, something that of course we need to monitor. Like yesterday, we were checking how our Bianconeri were performing. Opened up 0 minutes, Koopmeiners 0 minutes, 71 minutes, that's the minute where Jegrova entered, so about 20 minutes for Jegrova, that 1-1-0 against Sweden, by the way. Thuram entered at the 75th minute with France, I think they did 2-2 at the end. And then we have Adzic that played 90 minutes with Montenegro. They won 2-1. A good game, but also a beautiful game for him that for the first time was wearing the number 10 of the senior team of Montenegro. Congratulations to him, of course. Juventus is looking for the future. A name that we will speak about in the next coming days and week is the name of Adin Licina. Licina, that is a player that is playing with the second team of Bayern Munich. End of contract at the end of this year, could be potentially in terms of deal a Kenan Yildiz 2.0. Of course, he's not at the moment at the level of Kenan. He's 18 years old. He could leave. He's a player that can play on the right side of the field. There offensively, right winger, can play as an attacking midfielder or as a left winger. Beautiful technique, but to me physically he is not ready yet. Maybe a player to start with the next gen. Let's see, but it's a player that for next summer on a free could potentially enter in the ideas of Claudio Chiellini, that is the head of next gen, brother of Giorgio Chiellini. If you enjoyed that video, put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe. We see each other later. Grazie, forza, Juve.